I need you to stop everything you are doing and listen to me right now, because we are living through the most dangerous and pivotal 48 hours in the history of the American presidency. You saw the headline, and I am here to tell you that it is not clickbait. It is the terrifying reality that is unfolding inside the White House at this very moment. Donald Trump has broken down. The man who projected an image of invincible strength to the world has crumbled under the weight of a stunning betrayal by the very people he created. We are receiving confirmed reports from deep within the West Wing that the President of the United States is isolated, paranoid, and lashing out in a way that should concern every single citizen of this country. But the reason for his breakdown is what you really need to understand. The Republican Party machine that protected him, enabled him, and excused his crimes for a decade has turned on him. In a shocking 48-hour shift, the GOP leadership has decided that Donald Trump is no longer their king. He is their casualty. Let me be very clear about what is happening here. This is not a standard political disagreement. This is a palace coup. For years, we asked ourselves what it would take for the Republican establishment to finally say enough. We thought it might be the insurrection. We thought it might be the felony convictions. We thought it might be the sexual abuse liability. But it was none of those moral failings. It was something far more cynical. It was the realization that Donald Trump has become a loser. The disastrous fallout from Operation Metro Surge, combined with the public relations nightmare of the federal funding freeze, has convinced the donors and the Senate leadership that the president is sinking the ship. And like rats fleeing a vessel taking on water, they are scrambling over each other to escape before they drown with him. I want to take you inside the timeline of this collapse, because the speed at which it happened is breathtaking. Just 2 days ago, Donald Trump was screaming in a federal courtroom, challenging a judge who dared to present evidence of his illegal surveillance program. He thought he had the backing of his party. He thought the red wall would hold. But while he was melting down in public, a secret series of meetings was taking place in Washington, D.C. behind closed doors. Mitch McConnell, the governor of Virginia, and key mega-donors met without the president's knowledge. They looked at the polling data. They looked at the lawsuits filed by Attorney General Keith Ellison, and they made a cold, calculated decision. Donald Trump is done. Do not let anyone tell you this is about principle. Do not let J.D. Vance or any other Republican try to convince you that they have suddenly found their conscience. They did not care when innocent people were being targeted by Clearview AI. They did not care when the funding for our schools was threatened. They only started to care when the instability began to threaten their own power. They are turning on him now because they are afraid of you. They are afraid of the American voter who is waking up to the reality that this administration is a chaotic failure. They are trying to wash the stain of MAGA off their hands before the midterm elections. But I am here to tell you that we will not let them forget who built this monster. The reports of Donald Trump's reaction to this betrayal are truly disturbing. We are told that he has shut himself in the residence. We are told that he is screaming at his television screens, accusing his closest allies of treason. This is the behavior of a man who knows he is cornered. For his entire life, Donald Trump has operated on the principle that he can buy or bully his way out of any problem. But he cannot bully a Senate that has stopped answering his phone calls. He cannot buy a vice president who is going on national television to admit that the administration's policies are chaos. The walls are closing in, and for the first time in his life, he has nowhere left to run. You need to pay attention to this part because it is the most dangerous aspect of the entire situation. A narcissist who feels abandoned is a dangerous thing. A president with the nuclear codes who feels like the world is against him is an existential threat. The breakdown we are witnessing is not just a personal tragedy for Donald Trump. It is a national security crisis for the United States. Who is in charge right now? Is it the man who is reportedly throwing food at the walls of the White House dining room? Is it the vice president who is publicly undermining him? Our adversaries are watching this chaos. They see a fractured government. They see a leader who has lost the confidence of his own party. This makes us vulnerable, and it is entirely the fault of the Republican Party for placing an unstable man in the highest office in the land. I want you to think about the federal funding freeze that started this avalanche. This was supposed to be Trump's masterstroke. He thought he could bring Democratic states to their knees by cutting off their money. But he forgot that the economy is connected. He forgot that when you hurt New York and California, you hurt the stock portfolios of his own donors. The phone calls that triggered this 48-hour shift came from Wall Street. They came from the corporate titans who told the GOP leadership, "Stop him. He is costing us money." That is the only language these people speak. They did not turn on him because he hurt democracy. They turned on him because he hurt their bottom line. And that should tell you everything you need to know about the moral rot at the center of the Republican Party. But let us talk about J.D. Vance. You have to appreciate the Shakespearean level of betrayal we are watching. This is the man who Donald Trump handpicked. This is the man who was supposed to be the loyal soldier. And yet in the last 48 hours, J.D. Vance has effectively launched his own shadow campaign for the presidency. He is the one leaking the details of the chaos. He is the one positioning himself as the adult in the room. He is looking at Donald Trump not as a boss, but as a stepping stone that has served its purpose. It is ruthless. It is cold. And it proves that there is no honor among thieves. You might be asking yourself, why does this matter to me? It matters because while they fight their civil war, the machinery of government is grinding to a halt. While Donald Trump is obsessing over who betrayed him, who is managing the crisis at the border, who is overseeing the economy, who is ensuring that your local hospital gets its federal grants? No one. The government is paralyzed by the psychological collapse of the executive branch. We are drifting without a rudder, and the storm is getting worse. This is why we need to demand immediate action. We cannot wait for the election. We need Congress to step in now. I am calling on the Democrats in the Senate, and indeed any Republican who still has a shred of patriotism left to demand a briefing on the president's mental state. If he is suffering a breakdown, if he is incapacitated by paranoia and rage, the American people have a right to know. We have the 25th Amendment for a reason. It is not a decoration. It is a safety valve for exactly this kind of nightmare scenario. If the cabinet leaders who are now whispering about his condition to reporters do not have the courage to invoke it, then they are just as complicit in the danger he poses as he is. Do not look away. I know it is exhausting. I know the drama is overwhelming, but that is what they want. They want you to tune out so they can reshuffle the deck and deal themselves a new hand. They want to swap out Donald Trump for a slicker, smarter version of the same authoritarianism. They want you to think that getting rid of Trump fixes the problem. It does not. The problem is the surveillance state they built together. The problem is the Operation Metro surge that they all voted for. The problem is the ideology that says it is okay to crush your political opponents with the power of the state. This 48-hour shift is a victory for us, the people. But it is only the first battle. The fact that they are turning on him proves that our pressure is working. It proves that the lawsuits in Minnesota are hurting them. It proves that the protests are effective. They are retreating because we push them. But a retreat is not a surrender. They are regrouping. J.D. Vance is already planning how to take over the MAGA movement and give it a fresh coat of paint. We cannot let him succeed. We have to see this for what it is: a desperate attempt to save a dying political party. Imagine the scene in the Oval Office right now. The silence must be deafening. The phone is not ringing. The cable news channels are running chyrons about GOP revolt. For a who needs validation like he needs oxygen. This is suffocation. And when a man like Donald Trump suffocates, he thrashes. I am warning you to be prepared for what comes next. He will not go quietly into the night. He will try to fire everyone. He will try to issue executive orders that are blatantly illegal. He might even try to incite violence again, just like he did on January 6th. He has nothing left to lose, and that makes him the dangerous man on the planet. We have to be the guardrails. The institutions are failing. The Supreme Court is compromised. The Senate GOP is trying to save its own skin. The only thing standing between us and total chaos is the vigilance of the American people. You need to share this news. You need to tell your neighbors that the strong man is crying in the White House. You need to break the spell of invincibility that has held this country hostage for too long. The emperor has no clothes, and his own court is finally pointing it out. This is the moment we have been waiting for, but it is also the moment of maximum peril. If the government collapses into infighting, who is watching the store? We know that our enemies are opportunistic. We know that they exploit weakness. And right now, the United States projects nothing but weakness. This is the legacy of Donald Trump. He promised to make America great again, but all he has done is make America fragile. He has hollowed out our institutions, divided our people, and now he is destroying his own party in a fit of narcissistic rage. I want you to remember this feeling. Remember the feeling of watching the bullies turn on each other. It is satisfying, yes, but do not let the satisfaction distract you from the work ahead. We have to rebuild the rubble they are leaving behind. We have to restore the faith in our democracy that they have shattered. And we have to make sure that no one, and not J.D. Vance, not Elon Musk, not anyone, is ever allowed to accumulate this kind of power again. The stunning 48-hour shift is not the end of the story. It is the climax of the tragedy, but the resolution is up to us. We get to write the ending. Do we let them rebrand and continue their assault on our freedoms? Or do we seize this moment of weakness to take back our country? The choice is yours. The Republicans have made their choice. They chose survival. We must choose justice. We must choose truth. And we must choose to hold every single one of them accountable for the nightmare they have inflicted upon us. Stay focused. Do not get distracted by the headlines about who said what to whom. Focus on the facts. The president is unstable. The party is fracturing. The policies are failing. The truth is winning. We are watching the slow-motion car crash of a corrupt regime. And we cannot look away until the wreckage is cleared and the road is safe again for democracy. Donald Trump is breaking down because he finally met a force he cannot manipulate: the collective will of the people who refuse to be ruled by a tyrant. This is your victory. Claim it, but do not rest. The next few days will determine the future of this nation. Watch the news, but watch it with a critical eye. Listen to their words, but watch their actions. The rats are leaving the ship, but the ship is still drifting towards the rocks. It is our job to grab the wheel. It is our job to steer us home. We can do it. We have the power. The last 40 to 8 hours have proven that they are not invincible. They are terrified, and they have every reason to be, because we are coming for our democracy, and we are not taking no for